Today we're at a very special place. It's called Monèr, Mumbai's first contemporary dessert bar and bistro. Chef Freny Fernandes, are you excited for what we're going to be doing today?
Super excited. We're doing one of my favorite things. So yes, I am super excited.
So what are we looking at? So we'll be doing an afternoon tea setup, right? Yes. So what are we looking at here?
So traditional afternoon tea always starts with savoury sandwiches. So that's what we're doing first, which is the first course.
Okay.
Then we have these tea cakes, cookies, scones, and some homemade, house-made strawberry jam. And then we move on to the desserts, which are profiteroles, tarts, macarons, and other petit fours.
So I see like a change of colors here, like some whites and beige of the bread. Then we have like these browns, and then like all a colorful pop of the macarons and everything, right?
Yeah.
So shall we begin plating it up on the afternoon Charlie?
Yes, let's do it. Yes. So firstly, we start with all the sandwiches. So this is like a strawberries and cream sandwich. This is something different because it's strawberry season now.
Correct.
That's a vegetable sandwich. And then we have the scrambled eggs and chives.
That looks delicious. So that makes up like the first.
Yes. So that's essentially the first course.
Alright.
And then we also have our scones right here. So scones traditionally are a very sort of British afternoon tea, like essential, like it has to be there on an afternoon tea stand. Okay. And then we serve it also with a house-made strawberry jam.
Oh, that looks colorful and like so yummy.
Yes. Next thing is our madeleines. So instead of like traditional tea cakes, I've gone for madeleines because they're more French. Right. And we're basically like a French patisserie bistro. So these are brown butter and orange madeleines. And then we have these alfajor cookies, which are these Mexican chocolate and sable cookies. So we basically sandwich sable, which is like a French butter cookie, in between milk chocolate.
Okay.
These are my favorite chocolate chip cookies.
That's like a crowd favorite.
Yes, it's a crowd pleaser and it's one of my favorites. It's classic, but it's just so good. And it goes perfectly well with any kind of teas or coffee.
That's right. So everything is like freshly made, like on the day itself?
Yes, so everything that we do here, so we take like a one-day pre-order for our afternoon tea, just so whenever we present it to the guests or whenever we take the high tea, it's all made fresh. And there's nothing, so like the scones, they dry out immediately. Okay. So that's why like we make sure that we make it just like a few hours before.
That's true.
And so even the cookies and stuff, they tend to dry out if they're not made fresh.
Okay. So what are these?
The shoe ones are profiteroles. And that's just a vanilla flavor.
Okay.
This is a chocolate shoe or chocolate profiterole.
So what we look at on top here is like all of chocolate?
So these are all mainly the desserts.
Okay.
So all of the petit fours, all of the really tiny like tarts, like this is like a fruit tart.
Correct.
Fruit and vanilla tart. This is a lemon meringue tart, like a mini lemon meringue tart. Then we have these petit fours, which are basically like these small spheres, like mousse spheres. So usually people would have like a smooth cake or something, but because we wanted it to be more sort of elegant and refined, so I made it into like a nice sphere.
Alright.
We have this.
That's like on delicate.
Yes. And then we have our macarons. So macarons just sort of add like a lot of color to the platter.
So, I mean, are there like any do's and don'ts you would like to point out for like the audience?
So definitely don't keep big items like big sandwiches, or because essentially afternoon tea is supposed to be very like elegant and light and very like, you know, bite-sized stuff. So these are all finger sandwiches that you can just pick up and have. and even like all the other desserts and stuff are very bite-sized and nibbles and stuff. So don't keep something like a big snack or anything. And yeah, just like keep it simple.
Okay, so in terms of like the strawberry sandwich that we're looking at here, also we are right in the season of strawberries. So could you like give us like a quick lowdown on how to make a strawberry sandwich at
So it's
home?
essentially really simple. So it's a strawberries and cream sandwich,
Right.
but you can also make a savory strawberry sandwich.
Okay.
So in that sense, you just toast your bread a little bit.
All right.
You cook your strawberries. If you're doing it savory, then just with a little bit of balsamic vinegar,
Alright.
and then you just layer it
Yeah.
with maybe like some greens, and that's it. But because we've done a sweet one, what we've done is we've cooked the strawberries with a little bit of honey.
Okay.
And then that sort of adds to that sweetness,
Right.
but it also gives it more depth of flavor.
Right.
And then just like a little bit of whipped cream, and then
Okay.
we just have like a sandwich.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Okay, so the main question that I think everyone is confused with, like most of the time.
Yeah.
What is the difference between an afternoon tea and a high tea?
So an afternoon tea was sort of first introduced, or it came about when some duchess in England once, like she wanted a snack in between lunch and dinner, which
Right.
is why they came up with afternoon tea.
Correct.
So they would have it around 4 o'clock or 5
Okay,
o'clock, and then it became like this thing after she started inviting more people in
Yeah.
to sort of, then it became like, oh, afternoon tea
Correct.
party sort of a thing. And that's what an afternoon tea is, and it
Alright.
mainly has like these 3 courses, which is the
Correct.
savory sandwiches, the
Yeah.
tea cakes, and the desserts.
Right.
Whereas a high tea was started more by sort of the other class of people who wanted to sort of look up to like these royalties, and
Alright.
wanted something similar, but they would go for like a whole meal, something more hearty rather than like these small nibbles and finger food. They would have like a full meal in between the 2 meals. So that's what a high tea basically is. A high tea is more of like a proper meal in between like lunch and dinner, and an afternoon tea is just like light nibbles with tea and just like small snacks and stuff.
So talking about the teas, I mean, which is obviously the prominent part of having an afternoon tea setup, but like if at home people are hosting it, what kind of other beverages can they experiment with?
If you're having a nice cocktail party, then cocktails,
Yeah.
why not? Like any sweet or very light
Of
sort of,
Yeah.
like wines, a prosecco,
Correct.
or even like a mix of like, like a nice cocktail.
Yes.
You can go for teas, of course, like iced
Yeah.
teas and like any cold beverages.
So
Or-
hot and cold both can be done.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not a rule that only hot.
No. So if
Beverages
you're
should
hosting like a nice party at home, then why not like spruce it up a little bit and
Exactly.
add some
Okay,
cocktails.
that's
and
interesting.
Ice. An afternoon tea party, it's always going to be a very sort of nibbles and
Yeah,
that
true,
kind of stuff. So it's always nice to have like finger foods and stuff.
Right. Okay. So, what is like the proper timing of when someone wants to host like an afternoon tea? What hour of the day should they go for?
I think post lunch, so from 3 to 7 p.m., which is what we have it here at Monèr.
Alright.
So it's in between that lunchtime and just before dinner,
Correct.
and it's like nice and like it's a very afternoon kind of an
Yes.
environment and
Yes.
stuff. So I think that's like the perfect time to have it.
So that's great. I think the whole setup is looking very colorful. So I think Chef Freny, as you said, you start with savory, you go on to the scones, and then you finish with the very sweet desserts, right? So that's the way to go about it, and I think it was a very fun rendezvous at Monèr with Chef Freny Fernandes. We learned the whole art of actually setting up an afternoon tea, which I might just host this Christmas, like for my family and friends. So thank you so much,
Thank
Chef Freny.
you. Lovely having you over.
This was a lovely interaction and like something I am definitely taking away from
Thank you so
Monèr.
much.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.